Hi guys, Maikeru here. This is my AFK Corp Beast guide, and it is the best blue charms an hour for any AFK method out there. And it's around 4 to 5 million GP an hour as well alongside that, which is pretty damn good. So let's get right into the setup. Looking at the setup, obviously this is going to be a fairly high tier setup because it is a AFK version of a fairly hard hitting boss. First things first is do not take a familiar to Corp as he does eat them. So your familiar will die if you take it to Corp, so don't bring any. When it comes to your gear, you want Trim Masterwork Spear. It is very important to have this. This is why this is a higher level method. The rest of the gear you want to take the best you have. So I take Cinderbanes as Corp can be poisoned. An Amulet of Souls is very important as well, or an Essence of Finality if you don't have an Amulet of Souls. But the upkeep for the Souls is obviously cheaper, so I would recommend that because you don't need the Finality. This will make your Soul Split heal more, and that is a big deal at Corp. You want to take a Luck Ring, a Vampirism Scrimshaw, and then 3 pieces of Trim Masterwork if you have it. That will give you the 10% damage reduction passive, which is really nice. I personally rock the chest, legs, and boots, and then I use normal Masterwork Helm, as it's way cheaper to upkeep. And as you only need 3 pieces, a normal Masterwork Helm is completely fine. Saves you a little bit of money. When it comes to the inventory setup, I take a ton of Super Restores. You can take less of them if you are using a Tier 95 Prayer or the Penance Aura. If you're rocking a Tier 99 Prayer, it does take a lot of potions per hour. As you can see here, I did test this with a Tier 95 Prayer and it worked absolutely fine. So if you don't have a Tier 99 Prayer, it doesn't matter. And Tier 95 works completely fine for this AFK method, but obviously Tier 99 will speed up your kills. So what I personally would do, because it was nice and easy, I'd rock Penance with my Tier 99 Prayer. And that seemed to work perfectly. Anyway, back to the setup, we have Elder Overload Salves. You can just take whatever overloads you have alongside Super Prayer Renewals or whatever. I just take salves because I like to put them in the potion reservoir and then it continuously renews all of those buffs with that salve. That makes it more AFK. I have an Ancient Elven Ritual Shard to replenish my prayer every 5 minutes alongside an Enhanced Excalibur to do the same with my HP if it gets low. One big thing here is an ODAC coil. You do want an ODAC coil with auto reload preferably. To get the auto reload, you do need to go to the Artisan's Workshop and get a total of 250% respect. Buy the golden, then the royal cannon, and then the auto reload. That also works with the ODAC coil. If you don't have this, you can still use the ODAC coil, you just need to manually reload it, which obviously takes away from the AFK. Then I take a placeholder for blue and crimson charms, because obviously Corp is really good for those. And a weapon poison +++ as it stacks with Cinderbanes. And then just a couple of food. I don't really need the food, but there may be one point where you get a little bit low that you can just chomp one and it will just help you out a little tiny bit. But if you are struggling on food for some reason, or you have a little bit more of a budget setup, using a Vampirism Aura alongside the Scrimshaw will be absolutely amazing. The Vamp Aura actually works with an ODAC coil, so the ODAC coil will heal you as well, which is pretty huge. That will maintain your HP even higher if you are struggling. There is one last thing to this setup, and that is your Relic Powers from Archaeology. The big Relic Power that you want is Persistent Rage. This will mean you don't have to adrenaline stall between kills, and you'll be able to start off a kill with your Quake, your Hurricane, Assault, etc. Being able to use thresholds as soon as possible is a huge DPS increase. It's going to increase your kills per hour. And as we're using Soul Split, it's also going to make sure that you don't die. If you don't use Persistent Rage, starting with 0% adren, you're more likely to die. So do bear that in mind. The other 2 relics that I rock is Fury of the Small and Berserker's Fury personally. I like Berserker's Fury because if you get a bit low on HP, you hit harder and then it's harder to die. And Fury of the Small is really nice at generating a little bit more adren, so you can always use those thresholds. You can swap these around a bit. The only one I would definitely recommend is Persistent Rage. Now the setup's done, let's get into the actual method and to showcase the action bar and the loot, I guess. Let's do it. So when it comes to AFK in Corp, I just stick my ODAC coil slightly to the east of the center of the room and then stand east of my cannon. So when Corp spawns, I'm right next to him and I don't have to move to attack him or anything like that. That way my coil will start hitting him and I'll auto-retaliate by just spinning around without any movement. I also rock a legendary pet which picks up most of the drops, which is super helpful as well. My charming imp is on my tool belt and that also picks up the charms, and obviously the charms are a big part of this. It's the best AFK blues in the game by far, and it's just amazing for that. I'm probably going to use this method to AFK my Corp title. I am 2 sigils away, and it's definitely a really chill way to get this log done. Obviously, it isn't the best money ever. It's like 4 to 5 million GP an hour, but those charms make up for it, and it's a nice chill thing to do if you are going for that log. I wouldn't really advise this for GP, because if you can do AFK Corp, you can also do AFK Greg, and Greg is insane money right now, and I would much rather recommend you to AFK Greg for your GP. I have a guide for AFK Greg, which I'll leave in the description as well if you're interested in that. But as the action bar stands for this boss, this is what you want it to look like, and you need to have Revo on all of these. You're going to be casting all 9 of these abilities. You're barely ever going to cast Smash, but you may cast it very occasionally, and that's useful to have on the 9th slot. But you're mainly going to be using the first 8. Do make sure though that you go into your settings. Under combat settings, you want to make sure that your revolution bar stretches across at least 9 and it casts your thresholds for you. Because if it's not casting thresholds, you're not going to be able to survive. And that is literally how simple this method is. You just sit here with this action bar, with this setup, and you just kill Corp. It is so chill and so awesome. I did some different aura testing and stuff like that, and my best hour that I got at Corp was 5 mil. I got 1 Onyx Bolt drop, 1 Cannonball drop, and a Holy Elixir. As you can see, I only have 874 cannonballs in my price check. That's because those are the cannonballs that I had extra. Corp drops 2k each time, and you pretty much always profit on cannonballs, which is lovely to see. And as you can see, I profited 800 there. Then my worst hour that I had was 3.76 mil. I only had a cannonball drop in this hour. Everything else was absolutely trashy pretty much, except for the normal, you know, a couple 100k that you might get for a couple of the different drops. It all adds up over time though, as I'm getting about 40-second kills. This leads to about 50 to 55 kills an hour, which really isn't bad for how AFK it is. But another big thing is the amount of charms that I got, right? Like I said, it was 50 to 55 kills an hour, which was about 4 to 5 mil GP an hour on average. I also got 150 to 350 blue charms and 75 to 250 crimson charms. Typically, if you only got the low end of the blue charms, like 200 or so, you're also going to have 200 and odd crimsons, and they'll be on the high side. But if you're sitting there with only like 70 crimsons, that means you're going to have a ton of blues because you rolled on more blues, and that's the hour that you'll get, you know, 350 blues. So you typically get a mix between crimsons and blues of about 400 to 500 charms, and the fact that you near enough always get more blues than you do crimsons is pretty nutty. And that is literally all there is to it. Thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate you all. Give the video a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new for loads of future content all related to RuneScape 3. And until next time, see ya.